So now we are going to the next session right away, and I would like a little bit inform you that there are water that you can, if you need drinks, there are drinks outside that you can go pick up as well. For the next session, that will be about the AI and the future of global education. So I would like to invite to the panel of AI and the future of global education. First, I would like to invite distinguished panelists, Professor Jose Mura, Philip L. and Marsha Down University Professor, Carnegie Mellon University, IEEE and AAAS Fellow, former President of IEE, to be on stage. Dr. Alan E. Goodman, President Emeritus, Institute of International Education, IIE. Dr. Alfred Gusenbauer, former Chancellor of Austria. Dr. Supan Tangchit Kusongman, President of CMKL University, to be on stage. And last but not least, our moderator, Dr. Sally Golden, Associate Professor and Associate Director of Learning Innovation of CMKL University. Please give them an applause for this panel discussion. Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished panelists. Thank you very much for being willing to join us today. And good morning to our audience. So we have limited time, and this is a very, it's a deep topic, and given that we are a university, it's a topic that concerns us greatly. So let's dive right in. So we hear a lot of claims that artificial intelligence will revolutionize education. Do you think this is true? And if so, where, how, and why? Who would like to start? Dr. Goodman?
I'm happy to. I have good news. Education is the most...
Your mic is...
Sorry. How is that? Thank you.
Much better.
So I have good news. Education is the most resistant institution in modern society and in history. It's also one of the three most longest-lasting institutions, the other being the British monarchy and the Roman Catholic Church. So universities have been around for a long time, continuously operating, and they have embraced revolutions only very slowly. This will be the case today and tomorrow and next year. But there's no question that AI is going to have an impact. You asked when and how, and I think there are three ways in which we'll see that impact. One is the audience. In the audience is the next generation. You will tell us what we should have taught you about AI in your degree programs, because we don't know what we should have taught you because we didn't get training and teaching how to do that. So we're going to depend on you to tell us what we should do as alumni. Secondly, we've already seen in the proliferation of AI universities, in here, in the Arabian Gulf, in America, that embracing AI is not going to be one university with one department for AI, but it will be whole schools that will be focused on AI and its development. And in some cases, like at MIT and the Schwarzman College, his donation to MIT was not to create a computer science program using AI. It was to figure out how AI should be part of every department, every discipline at MIT. And that'll be a case study. The most avid adapter of AI so far is the English Literature Department, because they're trying to figure out if Shakespeare wrote all those plays. And only machine learning and only what AI has can offer an answer to that question. So we will slowly see AI pervade the universities. And we will slowly see more schools like CMKL, the first AI university in this region, that will show us how to teach AI in a region and how other schools can adapt what is developed here.
Thank you. Professor Mora, you're also in education. Can you offer us your thoughts?
Okay, so I really don't know how to answer the question because I really don't know how AI will impact or not impact the way we teach. That's how I'm interpreting the question, the way we teach. What I know is that we all use some way or another AI today. And by AI, we mean ChatGPT and instruments like that. And the way we use, or the way at least I use in my own work, and I think that will be similar to how education will use, is I interact as if I was discussing, entertaining a discussion with the student or with another party. So I'm concerned with a question, and I'll go and I think about what the question implies, and I start discussing as if I had a partner there, okay? And sometimes I get hints of what the solution or what the real answer is to my question, and sometimes I get things that are completely nonsensical. So what do I tell my students? I can't I can't forbid them of using these tools. And we give them a weekly homework. Am I going to tell them, well, when you present the solution to this homework, you cannot have used any AI tool? That's unrealistic. That's very difficult for me to actually make sure that happens. So what do I tell them? Well, use whatever means help you to understand the material. But remember that if you blindly accept what the AI tells you, what the tool tells you, you may be for a big surprise. And so it's in that exercise of interacting with the tool that I think you are forced to better understand the problem that you are trying to address. So I am very positive. I think that it will be a nice instrument to help you better understand what the issue is. So I am positive, and I think there will be lots of opportunities for AI to help the education. How exactly it will be, I think we are still in a very early stage to understand that. But we have to be open and believe it will help us.
Thank you very much. Dr. Gussenbauer, could you share your thoughts?
I think that there are obvious advantages of using AI in education, which means that it allows a higher degree of personalization of education. It allows a higher degree of efficiency in order to work with large volumes of data and knowledge. However, it demands the core understanding of academia and the core understanding of university to move to another level. And this is critical thinking. Critical thinking always has been at the core of academic endeavors. And with the amount of data that we can use when using AI, the demand for critical thinking is, of course, much higher than it was before. So my suggestion is one should not just accept, as you said, the solutions or the answers that are presented or provided by AI, but to go through an own scrutiny process where you try to check what is reasonable and what is not reasonable. And I think this will be the core demand for the use of AI at the universities in the future.
Thank you. And Dr. Supan, as president of the first AI university in the region, what can you
Right.
offer?
So definitely I echo what Dr. Kusenbauer just mentioned about the personalization of AI. At CMKL, we design our curriculum, led by Dr. Sally, to make sure that we use AI to benefit our students. So we introduce new ways of learning because now AI can generate a lot of content. So we focus on critical thinking, on ethical judgment, on real world impact. So I think AI allow us to shift our focus to something deeper. Student has to have a deeper understanding. In the past, we had some other example of the technologies, like in my field, we do analysis of, like the distribution of temperature when we introduce some kind of electricity to the heart. We want to know how it affects the temperature distribution. So in the beginning, maybe we have to do it by hand, or we have a very simple software, so we could do it only on a two-dimensional problem. But with the development of this finite element modeling software, the student can easily try three-dimensional complex problems. So they have abilities to go deeper into the problems and try, to test new theories. They can go further. So I think AI has the power to enable students and also teachers to learn or to be able to provide a deeper experience in learning. So that's what we have seen so far.
Thank you, thank you. So it sounds like no one thinks that a revolution is ongoing, but rather that it's a gradual evolution. Would you generally agree with that? Is that a fair interpretation of what you've said?
Oh, I think there is a revolution, and it's coming from the ground up, and it'll be a while before we see it. And with most revolutions, not all values are thrown out. Some are quite resilient, like the persistence of critical thinking. But it's here among us now. We just don't know what it's going to mean tomorrow, next month, next year.
We rarely do. Oh, thank you. Following on the comments about critical thinking, I'd like to get to the question that concerns me most as an educator with regard to AI in education. So there's a natural human tendency to choose or to seek out paths that require the least effort. Herbert Simon at Carnegie Mellon called this satisficing in his well-known book, The Sciences of the Artificial. Students are not stupid. They're already using AI tools. So the easiest thing for them to do is simply to copy the results they get and turn them in. And this may result in at least adequate assessment results. How do we encourage them to put in the effort to fight against the tendency to satisfy and to dig deeper in order to actually learn, in order to apply critical thinking, to practice critical thinking? How do we motivate them in this world of AI when it would be easy for them to simply just, cut and paste and get their degree?
So I'd like to address that question. So let's go back many, many years, or think of when we are in elementary school. So the question is, we have our phone helps us to add numbers, for example. Okay. So because we have these helping aids, are we telling our kids, don't learn the addition tables, don't learn multiplication tables? Why? It only tells you 1 + 1 is 2. And your phone, or whatever other aids you think about, can add pi plus e, whatever pi is and whatever e is. So the question is, just because now we have this ChatGPT around, or Gemini, or whatever you want, are we going to forget about the fundamentals? And are the students going to just cut and paste the answers that AI gives them? If they are doing that, they are going to be for a big surprise. So from my perspective, although there are all these helpers, it really is not changing the way for the last 50 years as technology evolved and gave us all these. So when the computer came around, computer allowed you through programming to do many more difficult things that you could do by hand. But still, we continue teaching fundamentals and students learning those fundamentals. So from my perspective, students, professors need to stick to fundamentals and use the new tools, the new perspectives to enhance, but not necessarily to replace.
I can tell that Dr. Gusenbauer wants to comment on this.
I agree. And in addition, I would say if students develop the type of behavior that you described, they are forcing educators and teachers to use AI at the minimum at the same level. Because remember, in the old days, people writing a thesis before the computer with the typewriter, it was rather easy to write the plagiate. So to find a book or an article, an essay somewhere, and you take the ideas of others under your own name. As we have now all these computer programs, it's quite difficult to deliver a plagiate thesis. This already led to quite some turmoil also in political systems where people had to resign because it was proven that their thesis was not their own work but was a plagiate. And if now students embark on just uncritically reproducing what AI is going to suggest to them, professors, teachers have to use AI in order to identify if this is just the result of AI or if there is an additional own creative idea about the subject or about the relationship of things in this context. So I think, at least this is my conclusion from the reading I do, is with this behavior that you described, we as educators are forced to use AI in order to identify the fraud.
Which to me means that we are losing opportunities for more productive applications of the technology. I mean, I'm afraid you're right. I'm a big believer in intrinsic motivation, and so what I'd like to do is to try and figure out how can we motivate the students? Because punishment never really works, and it doesn't develop deep behavioral change. Either of our other panelists want to comment on this?
Happy to. I had an experiment this fall teaching a course at the Georgetown School of Foreign Service in Qatar. It's a campus in Qatar. It's 7 other U.S. colleges and universities are part of it. I had students from Carnegie Mellon and students from Georgetown. One of the assignments was, does Georgetown or Carnegie Mellon have a foreign policy? After all, they have branch campuses. They have a large proportion of students and faculty from other countries. They have a stake in what happens to visas. I got excellent papers. But toward the end of term, I said I ought to ask ChatGPT the same question so that I could detect if that's all they did. ChatGPT did 2 great papers, one on Carnegie Mellon, one on Georgetown. Do they or do they not have a foreign policy? I would have given that paper about a B. The papers I got had no relationship to what came off the machine, and I gave them an A. Not because of that, but they were so thoughtful. And the lesson to me was you have to figure out the right question to ask the student that goes beyond simply what the machine can produce, but at the same time verify, ask the machine the same question to make sure you're not getting a plagiaristic answer.
Thank you. Dr. Supan?
I guess we have to take a step back and re-evaluate what the goal of education is. Instead of thinking about the end result, the grades, the answer, we have to focus on the process, how they think, how they develop these human skills, critical thinking, the ways that they can collaborate with other people. So teachers, professors, and students, I mean, it's a big challenge. I believe at CMKL we also have this big debate of how we are going to deal with this kind of problem. So the professor, the educators, have to also adapt and give better kinds of assignments so that students will not, they can't just rely on ChatGPT. We have to integrate real world problems because all the time in the past we usually solve problems that is in the ideal world, but we have this tool, ChatGPT or other AI tools. We can challenge the students to go to the real world and then add in, many of the conditions that were not able to, they were not able to deal with in the past, and try to, in the end, we have to ask them to present in a class maybe, so they have to have real understanding. We just don't ask them to submit the assignment and grade. Like Dr. Pidikate, I had a talk with him this morning. He also, encouraged students to make presentation in class, and then at CMKL, what we have been doing is that we ask each student to work on their project every semester. So they have to work on real problems. They have to work together as a team. So I think it's a challenge, but we have to adapt and try to find ways so that we can make sure that our students, reach the goal. We reach the goal of education, which is, to have achieve their intellectual ability, their critical thinking. They have to also have their moral, ethical values, and also they have to be able to use their knowledge to the society. So I think it's a moving goalpost, and we have to keep adapting.
Thank you. And let me take this opportunity to encourage everyone here to go visit our project showcase rooms. The projects that our students do are really awesome, and I don't use that word lightly. Some of the projects are first semester freshmen. We are probably the only university in Thailand that requires a sort of capstone level in terms of scope project of first year students. And our students generally rise to the challenge. Because in fact, it's much more interesting to them and more motivating to them to deal with a real world problem, as well as, of course, more educational. Because you can read about theory and the real world just never behaves the way theory tells you it would, as some of the panelists commented in the previous panel. The real world is messy. Okay, thank you very much. So Thailand is a middle-income country, right? Struggling to get out of that middle-income gap, supposedly. Most advanced AI development has been done in wealthy countries. And so this may not apply as much to Thailand, but in the region, I think we need to think about this. We need to be a leader in the region. How, given that fact, how does that limit the benefits, or does that limit the benefits that lesser developed countries can gain from artificial intelligence? And more importantly, what kind of applications are most appropriate for countries with limited financial resources, weak institutions, and in particular in the education realm?
So maybe I'll start with this one. I think we can all see the translation, the English to Thai or Thai to English. There's a room for localization. Each country, each culture is different. This ChatGPT or Gemini were trained using data that is maybe heavily biased, not in a bad way, but because of the source of the data, mainly from the wealthy country. So it doesn't provide the greatest answer or the right fit for maybe countries like Thailand. So I think we, instead of aiming for a goal of having the biggest or the fastest supercomputer, we should focus on making an impact, solving local problems that we have. So putting our resources to, I think, first educate our teachers so they have the ability to, educate their students, and then also the research problems that we should focus on should be applied to our local problems. Maybe we, as the chair of FTI suggested, we have some sectors, some goals that we want to achieve. Maybe we focus on the problems that matters for Thailand.
Thank you.
I think that was a very important point just made, because there is, in my understanding, a strong interlinkage between the local database and the successful use of AI. And let's face it, the local database is one that is under the full control of the local population, government, institutions, companies, enterprises, etc. So this is the major contribution you can give, first to the development of the AI, and secondly, it also increases the accessibility. And accessibility is the second most important thing, because it only works if you have a deep reach out within the society. If it is just an elite project, you never will fully benefit from AI. The deeper the reach out in a society is, the more you are going to benefit from that. And the third thing is, let's work on the language basis. I mean, if you see ChatGPT, Of course, it's fantastic in English and to a certain extent in German, not as good as in English, but quite okay. Yeah. Also in French, but if you're going then to other languages all around the globe that are spoken by millions and millions of people, and you analyze the quality, either it's not there or it's not at the same standard. And therefore, I think to fuel in the database all the richness of the languages in connection with the local cultures available around the world will be very strongly determining the accessibility and the usefulness of AI on a broader scale.
You said accessibility was the second most important thing. What's the first?
Pardon me?
You said a few minutes ago that you thought accessibility was the second most important consideration. What do you consider to be the first?
I think the first consideration is the ability in general to work with those enormous volumes of data available. So the tool to manage the system.
Okay, thank you. So sort of the first consideration is sort of technical capacity.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Goodman.
I agree with what has been said, but I wanted to bring a slightly different point. So we are at, as one of the speakers this morning said, at an inflection point, okay? And he mentioned an S technology inflection point. And the good thing and the bad thing about those inflection points is that it levels. Everybody becomes at the same level, okay? Maybe OpenAI and the big 6 or 7, maybe they are at a slightly different level. Take away those 7, the rest of the world. And on the rest of the world, I even place all the American universities, okay? The American universities cannot compete with the big industry in terms of access to the computing infrastructure, for example. And we all know that these LLMs and all that requires for training, for development, requires an infinite amount of computing. So everybody, Thailand, US, are practically at the same level. And that could be interpreted as a challenge or could be interpreted as a big opportunity. And so from my perspective, everybody in this room is more or less at the same level and has a big opportunity here of making a difference. And one of the speakers, the person from the Ministry of Finance, I think, he actually pointed to the solution. The solution is don't try to solve the big problem, because if you try to solve the big problem, you enter in immediate competition with the big 7. Try to solve the problem that makes a difference, like what I said, right? Make a difference in the real world. And so what we need is for our students to have the imagination to go out and come up, discover what's the problem that needs to be solved that nobody else is solving, and then apply the best AI tools or the best brains they have and so forth, and solve that. Okay, so that's...
Thank you.
A quick, I have a question actually, but very grateful for the keynote speaker who reminded us what was the building blocks of the Thai economy. Agriculture, tourism, other things. The question is, at CMKL, have we looked at all the possible uses of AI to improve Thai agriculture? Have we looked at all the possible uses of AI to improve tourism? And what's missing? Where are the gaps? There's nothing wrong with focusing on the things that are most important to the daily livelihood of the people in a single country, and it's not high tech. It's not building electric cars.
That's a really good point. I mean, we do have, our second year projects have the theme of AI for society. And so our students do work with stakeholders who might not be commercial stakeholders, or they might not be focusing on product development. But I think we could do a lot more in the agricultural realm especially. Dr. Supan, do you have any comments?
I mean, yeah, we, like Dr. Sally said, we have had some projects. I think if you go out and, look around, our students have some projects related to agriculture, tourism, but there are many more things that we can do, and we are also trying to establish our collaboration with the government agencies involved. So we hope that, as time goes on, we can bring in more parties and really create a cluster of people who are working on AI related to, maybe agriculture and tourism. But I mean, throughout the AIEI network, we have different universities who are maybe they're stronger in each side, so they put their focus, on the sectors that the chairman of the FTI mentioned this morning.
I think one issue is that most of our students currently in our undergraduate program come from an urban environment, and they are relatively unaware that agriculture exists. We only have a couple more minutes, but I want to ask this question. It's one that bothers me a lot. So current progress in AI is monopolized, I will say, primarily by a few large and for-profit companies. They are driving the technology, and they're also working aggressively to push that technology into education. Does this concern you? It concerns me because I see that their motivations are not necessarily the motivations that I want to develop within my students. Nobody wants to touch that hot potato. One of the advantages of being senior is that you can make uncomfortable remarks.
I'm not worried, because this all would not happen if there is not the entrepreneurial spirit to set up these companies and trying to be profitable. And this has been a driving force all around the economic development. So why shouldn't it be also the driving force in AI? So this is not a huge surprise. And as it happened also in the past, one has to find ways how to channel the technical capacity that is provided by these companies into something that is working for the general good in the society, and not only for the profit of these organizations. I think this task was ahead of us, or in front of us, already many times in the technological history of the 20th century and before. And we always developed tools that could, in one way or the other, limit the bad and improve the good. And therefore, I think we also will be able to take up that challenge. And if I just follow what already UNESCO 4 years ago in their framework on the ethical use of AI developed in terms of general ideas and guidelines, how AI should be used, I think this is a rather good agenda and pathway towards the use of AI beyond the solemn profit making.
Okay, thank you. We have less than a minute. Anyone want to make a last comment on this, or should we?
I believe, because technology is changing so fast, so a lot of times we don't know how to deal with them. And for example, when ChatGPT first came out, many countries banned, right? In the EU, some features were not allowed to be used, and after proper rules or guardrails were set up, they could deploy this technology. So I believe that with the competition, with the governing bodies, everyone has to work together to try to make sure that we have good AI, because there will be bad AIs out there, but we have to somehow work together, and this will benefit education around the world, and also many other applications that we can use AI in the future.
Thank you. Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you, panelists, once again for your thoughts and sharing from your varied experience and varied backgrounds. So I believe that we have another panel discussion coming up, so we better get out of here. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Sally Golden, Associate Professor and Associate Director of Learning Innovation of CMKL University. Also would like to thank you, our panelists, Professor Jose Mura, Philip Al and Marsha Down, University Professor of Carnegie Mellon University, and also Dr. Alan E. Goodman, President Emeritus, Institute of International Education, IIE, and Dr. Alfred Gusenbauer, former Chancellor of Austria, and Dr. Supan Tangchit Kusolman, President of CMKL University. So our next session, I guess everyone would like to listen to, because we have a very important guest, which is he have more than 1.46 million subscribers on YouTube.